Laddies, lasses, NBs, various heads of state and clergy, after watching all 36 seasons of The Simpsons and distilling down every time Willie appears, I painstakingly assembled a complete understanding of Willie's checkered past, present, and future. Everything about the dude is checkered. Plaid, I think he calls it. This Willie video's gonna have it all. The length and girth of a Dan Carlin history podcast, the meticulous editing of a VH1 behind the music, and the tightly scripted humor of a VH1 behind the music. Or better, that's just an entry-level promise. And of course, we'll learn a ton of fun facts by cataloging and explaining every single joke and reference Willie's ever made. By the end of this mind-boggling journey, you'll ken 'em all.
And when the wee lad came back from the store, says, "Where's Diane?" He said, "Oh, no, I ken there, bro. It's a rara. Zoom."
Aye, even that one. We'll also create a full fictive timeline of Willie's life, track his 30-year relationship to Skinner and the janitorial arts, construct a couple after-hours style pop culture theories, play a round of Scottish SLANG-WHANG, and get real about the problem with Apu, Willie, as a Scottish and blue-collar stereotype. Plus, I'll even explain why and how he works as a sitcom character and engine for bits, like I did with my recent Arrested Development video, since people seem to like that.
Now that's a clear-cut situation with the promise of comedy. Tell your friends.
So consider this an episode of Joke Math and a Simpsons Taught Me Everything. Both the podcast and video essay versions, the movie. No, that's too complicated. Think of it as a one-man After Hours. Please, you gotta do that. Did you know I wrote 2 Simpsons-related After Hours episodes with a combined 6 million views?
Hello? Human Fly here.
And yet here I am, still doing it. Thanks to one little boy.
One little boy who won't let me stop.
Thanks for the alley-oop, Clippy. Oh, and I brought back Clippy. All the clips are Clippy. Got it? So share and subscribe. I have a son now. I need the ad revenue.
Come on, my last paycheck bounced. My children need wine.
All right, without further ado, allow me to show you my Willie. That's terrible. Allow me to give you the Willies? See, here's the issue. Because this is a free movie about Groundskeeper Willie, I was gonna call it Free Willie, but it turns out that's already a famous movie. The Simpsons even did an episode about featuring Willie pulling a Free Willie. So then I thought, Blackfish, go the opposite direction. But the crack suits were all like, that has nothing to do with what you're talking about. You'll murder the video. So then I said, I don't know, Willie's Wonderland, and it turns out that's a movie too. So with all that in mind, this is The Simpsons Taught Me Everything, the movie, Episode 4, Free Willie's Wonderland. As Groundskeeper Willie once told Lisa Simpson, the national flower of Scotland is the thistle, a little ball of thorny hate crowned with a purple bloom. There were once some sleepy Scottish warriors saved from a Norse ambush when the Norsemen trampled on thistles, and their cries awoke the Scots, who duly slaughtered their enemies, sunning and fluffing their beards in the sun.
Come on, boys. Those white flags are no match for our muskets.
That story is likely more legend than history, but the factions involved mean it's probably set between 1262 and 1266, when Norway and Scotland were warring over control of the Hebrides, an archipelago off the coast of Scotland. Also, hey Vikings, maybe don't go to war barefoot, you fjord-ford-horned Nords. Like Groundskeeper Willie and the Thistle, Scotland's is a raw, wild beauty. Scots are tough, with a proud history of self-deprecation.
Groundskeeper stupid.
Oh, that's not clever. There have so many aspects you can mock. I'm poor, I'm dirty, I can't read or write.
And I don't know, that resonates with me for some reason. Sorry, what's the next cue card? I cannot read or write. You know what? Cue cards were a bad idea. I'll just go. When diving deep into Groundskeeper Willie, one must be careful not to disappear into the muck or get lost in the gach. like Principal Skinner did in the episode where he dived into a literal pool of worms and was discovered days later by swim teacher Willie.
I've always been swim teacher Willie, and I always will be.
Shut this pool down, Groundskeeper Willie.
Wow. From season 21, that's the most up-to-date canon explanation for both Willie's title and Skinner having no chill. It's kind of like watching Thor pick up Mjolnir for the first time, while in the background a radioactive man has sex with a spider. A seminal Simpsons moment.
Did you have to be so graphic?
To guide our discussion and keep me focused, I'll be breaking things into 7 chapters based on the 7 core journalists' questions. Who, what, when, where, why, how, and wherefore. I should note that I went to journalism school in the late 1500s. Chapter 1. Who's Willie? Pop culture deconstruction is everywhere now, but a lot of it misses out on what I think makes that a worthwhile pastime. Exploring the corners of your favorite fictional worlds should be like turning an empty bag of potato chips inside out. You do it to extend your enjoyment.
I don't need drugs to enjoy this. Just to enhance it.
And potentially rob a convenience store. You put it over your head, it fools the cameras, the reflections. I mention all this because to me, who's Willie is almost a pointless question, and the exact kind of question I think most deep dives get too easily sidetracked into centering their whole video on. Combing through literal decades of a show like The Simpsons that doesn't even pretend to care about its own lore or internal consistency to try and construct some fake working timeline of a supporting sitcom cartoon character isn't just a silly waste of time, it's counter to the way that Willie's creators intended for you to engage with him. But it does let me do cool supercuts. For example, here's every time Willie gets killed in quick succession.
Ay, caramba!
Is that the best you can do? Ow!
This is indeed a disturbing universe.
I don't like the idea of Millhouse having 2 spaghetti meals in one day.
Don't bite the hand that kills you!
And all at once. See, I only could have accomplished that in the edit by watching all of The Simpsons multiple times. As I say, this is, in many senses, a huge waste of effort. Yet, some essayists still do it, just because it's expected and they're too cowardly to challenge their audience. So let's do that now. Willie comes from a long line of exploited blue-collar workers, as we learn when he comes to stay over at the Simpsons house for a bit because the writers spun a big wheel and it was his turn to do that kind of episode.
You seem resigned to a life of abject squalor.
My family's used to it. Me grandfather used to get sent down into the mines to make sure it was safe for the canaries.
That hard-bitten lifestyle didn't make for an easy upbringing, as Willie's father essentially raised him to expect punishment and misery.
Like my dad told me.
You'll never amount to anything. You were born trash, and you'll be lucky if you grow up to be garbage.
That was the last time we really talked.
Tragically, a reconciliation would never be possible, as Willie's dad was later caught stealing a pig, hanged, and thrown in a bog.
I didn't cry when my own father was hung for stealing a pig. But I'll cry now. Yeah, you're lucky you're getting a decent burial. My own father got thrown in the bog.
But wait! You're asking, how can that be true when we see Willie's parents when he and Homer go with Mr. Burns to Inverness to try and capture the Loch Ness Monster?
Tis my ma and pa. They own a tavern hereabouts. They still have the same pool table in which I was conceived, born and educated.
I'll tell you how, and it reveals a secret pop culture conspiracy hiding in plain sight that'll blow your mind. Although again, I'm just connecting random dots the writers scattered around decades apart. Continuing, why might a man with a super bleak, harsh upbringing expatriate to America and take a job in a random small town where he has no prior connections, then lie about his parents being dead?
Hey, that's not your locker.
You know, you are the spitting image of the Aberdeen Strangler.
Moving on.
That's right, because he was a serial killer in Scotland. We know he was born and raised in Inverness, the town by Loch Ness, which is about 2.5 hours drive from Aberdeen, a nice healthy buffer zone if you wanted to go a-strangling and not get caught. This would also explain why Willie always throws out conflicting information about where he actually expatriated from.
No fooling! I'm from North Kiltown. Back in Edinburgh, we had a coal miners' strike. I'm not from Edinburgh. I'm also not from Glasgow. I'm from Kirkwall in Orkney.
Get it? The inconsistencies over the years aren't just random writers contradicting each other, although they are. They're one man's attempt to hide his identity. Remember that coal miners' strike? Pretty good way to fake your own death if you had to flee the country, huh?
Then one day the mine collapsed. No one made it out alive. Not even Willie.
Willie escaped to America sometime in the late 70s or early 80s, coming through Ellis Island, where his name and occupation were stripped from him in an experience common to poor people immigrating to the U.S.
Name?
Dr. William McDougall.
From now on, you're Groundskeeper Willie.
In fact, he never took a surname again, all the better to fade into the background.
I'm not very cultured. I don't even have a last name.
Willie drifted instead into life as an alcoholic elementary school groundskeeper in a small town he was probably only aware of because he has a cousin who already lives there.
Groundskeeper Willie?
No, I'm his cousin, Grey Digger-Billy. I've been digging graves for 30 years.
A cousin who himself is no stranger to murder. A cousin with a skill set Willie the Aberdeen Strangler naturally has. In spades, Crypt Keeper laugh. More Simpsons clips.
Deeper, wider, faster. I wouldn't bury my turtle in that mud puddle.
Incidentally, Adlai Stevenson was a two-term Democratic House rep and vice president and avowed Unitarian, a religion whose symbol is the forever flaming chalice Willie so rudely extinguished there. Ah, that's right. It's not a Tomb of the Unknown Soldier eternal flame. He's not denigrating the government, he's desecrating a man's faith. The point is, Willie doesn't just keep ground, he digs it up, pats it down, whatever you need. The guy's like a dirt bender.
There, pretty as a picture. Ah, zombies! There, pretty as a picture.
And that grave digging experience has come in handy, as we know Willie's continued to kill, offing at least 2 elementary school students over the course of the show, one with a rake and one with his mower.
It was that sassy mouth that got you killed in the first place. I've shredded a child! Again! No!
Pretty impressive he keeps getting away with it, especially considering he's been partially disabled since the late 80s.
I know what you're hiding, lad. Willie's been deaf since the boiler explosion of '88, but I taught myself to read lips.
Morning, Willie.
What did you say about me, mother?
Over the years, Willie made himself an invaluable part of school staff and a fixture in Springfield, until finally being disappeared by masked ICE agents earlier this month. Lord knows where he is now.
Your taxes are high because of illegal immigrants. That's right, illegal immigrants.
Immigrants. I knew it was them. Even when it was the Bears, I knew it was them.
Ingrates.
Talk about Simpsons predicts. Damn, that episode's 30 years old. But, resourceful as ever, we know Willie found his way back from whatever Central American gulag Mayor Quimby had him shipped to, because he's still the janitor when Bart and Lisa go to their high school senior prom.
Ah, who knew that bioengineered food would lead to smart puke?
Apparently, ICE lost interest in his case because, after all, he may be an immigrant, but he's a white immigrant. And unfortunately, that still counts for something in this country. Thus, Willie got to stay in Springfield and do all of the awesome things you remember him doing in the show, which we will now unpack in Chapter 2. What's Willie? He's a Scottish icon, but what is it to be Scottish? He's an avatar of janitorness, but what would Scruffy from Futurama say about that? The first and really only thing you need to know is he costs $259.
Scottish Deerhound. Hey, this is a dog!
Oh, my friend! You're smarter than I gave you credit for! Alright, you got me. We'll do it for real.
Alright, I'll tell you.
Chapter 2. What's Willie? As far as the Simpsons writers are concerned, Groundskeeper Willie is defined by three things: being Scottish and being a groundskeeper.
My name's Willie, and all I do is get drunk and kill squirrels with my shovel.
Oh, and third, having a silhouette similar to that of an Iraqi fighter jet.
Iraqis again, launching Sidewinder missile. Missed him.
If I may joke math at you for a minute, this is one way comedy writers tend to construct a character, especially a sitcom character who has limited screen time. If The Simpsons were a Tolstoy novel, or even a P.T. Anderson movie, we might worry about our characters being too flat or one-dimensional. But in this case, we worry about them having enough joke buckets or comedy lanes that we can play off of those with regularity for decades without exhausting our supply. And believe me, there are a limited number of jokes on most topics, or at least a limited number of jokes that are gonna hit with a national or global audience. That's why jokes aimed at a broad audience tend to be constructed out of pieces that everyone has strong and clear feelings about. It's far easier to write 100 jokes about Abraham Lincoln or Donald Trump than it is about William Henry Harrison, because he's really only known for the one thing.
I died in 30 days!
That's a small joke bucket. Or sometimes writers will say the well isn't deep or the bit doesn't have legs. On the other hand, Willie's two lanes are both highly unpackable. Scotland, like most robust cultures in the world, is widely known for lots of stuff. Or like at least a handful. Kilts, stuff like that. Tartan? I guess that's what's on a kilt. Surely I'll think of more.
Ugh.
Similarly, groundskeeping sneakily opens you up to jokes about all kinds of things, from tools and cleaning implements.
You're not in this class.
Willie swept me in here.
My mistake.
To being impoverished.
This question asked about the price of underwear, as if I were some landed aristocrat.
To all sorts of yard work.
Ah, me pile! It's been raped of its bunniness!
Let's talk Willie as a Scot first. After compiling all the Willie jokes and moments that bank off of his Scottishness, I feel confident in saying he ultimately boils down to like 6 or 7 characteristics. It's wonderful to see what kind of rich world building you can accomplish over 3 decades, isn't it? Of the qualities we associate with Scotland, Willie's got a fiery temper, a taste for the drink, and he loves kilts, bagpipes, haggis, tossing cabers, and anything else someone might reflexively shout back at you if you just yelled, "Hey, Scotland!" at them. So he's an ambassador for Scottish jokes in that sense.
Aye.
Yar.
Mamma mia!
Hutzman!
Yeehaw!
Arr, me mateys. Arr.
You may recognize some of those tropes as prejudiced or offensive, but not racist, because Willie's white. And that's okay. We've decided that's okay. And it's not my job to explain the complexities of that to you.
I moved here from Canada and they think I'm slow, eh?
You're allowed to punch up or sideways. Willie does it all the time.
I'd let you go, but the lads have a temper, and they've been drinking all day!
The acting and the groupies and the Luke, save me with the lightsaber and the vwing, vwing, vwing.
That's not how you ring!
As does The Simpsons. The show has never been shy about making fun of other cultures rather than races, and that's in fact the secret formula behind The Simpsons Are Going to X episodes. We visit a country, the writers exhaust all the tasteful jokes they can make about that culture, we return to Springfield. Australia lies in ruins.
There are still quite a large number of the toads around, but not as big as they used to be.
Well, I really go out of my way to run over cane toads, basically because I have a very profound love of the wildlife.
Of course, if you happen to live in Springfield and have a broad European accent like Willie,
chewing gum's got to be chewed out.
All bets are off. you have become the embodiment of your people, for good or ill.
Enjoy a multicultural hooey.
Like, I don't know if this would offend me if I were proudly Italian, but I know it's trying to.
Here comes a grease ball.
Hey, Luigi, bring you kids a free pizza.
Pizza Day will now be known as Italian-American Sauce Bread Day.
Ah, now that's a sensitivity. Right, Giuseppe? Why do people assume all I can do is feed spaghetti to dogs that want to make out?
What do you want to do?
Carve a little wooden boy and make him come to life.
Similarly, Willie often showcases our worst impressions of what Scottish culture can be. Take their weird, off-putting food. Like many American millennials, Willie is the way I first learned what haggis even is.
Get your haggis right here. Chopped heart and lungs, boiled in a wee sheep's stomach. Tastes as good as it sounds.
And that trend continues through the show.
It was rats within rats, which was also me dinner last night.
More recently, Willie popped up in the Lego episode to imply that Scottish people consider skunk meat a delicacy, which is not true.
Stop it! If you pull out those bricks, the whole school could collapse.
But there's a skunk in there.
Scottish steak.
Although there is a traditional haddock, onion, and potato soup called Cullen skink there, skink here meaning soup, because skink is the name of the knuckle and shin parts of a bull's legs used to make beef broth. There's no beef in the skink though, it's fish soup. And there's no skink in the skink, meaning the Australian lizard called a skink, or skunks, or skanks. In fact, Aberdeen Angus beef, i.e. Scottish steak, is considered a gold standard for flavor. Willie also chows down on a bag of blood sausage bites at one point, and although I couldn't find blood sausage packaged as a craveable snack, the UK definitely does eat a lot of blood sausage, and thinks it's weird that Americans don't. Americans, on the other hand, find the idea of a sausage casing stuffed with blood, rice, and filler creepy. Because our meat is so processed, we no longer like to think about the non-bologna parts. I don't want the deep-fried fish with the eyes, I don't want the suckling pig, and I don't want the blood sausage, all right? I'm American. I'm a food coward. I want an electric raspberry Slurpee with a 5-hour energy drink poured into it and 4 ham and cheese Hot Pockets. While we're examining Scottish meat, let's talk about that girly skirt they all wear.
This is a kilt, and I'm not a girl. You're as close as we'll ever get.
Sorry, weird connection sidebar, but that scene is set during a Stargate SG-1 convention, which you can tell because the dude in the front row is dressed as Teal'c, the show's proud black warrior who is dispassionate to a fault and has the catchphrase, "Indeed."
His mood is foul indeed. 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 Indeed.
I have no cromulent point here, except that that's also exactly what Tuvok from Star Trek Voyager is, even down to the catchphrase.
Indeed. 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 Of course.
I just think that's weird.
Indeed. Odd.
But back to kilts. In point of fact, all kilts are skirts, they've just been kilted, which describes the specific pattern of pleats on the front and back.
It's not a skirt, it's a kilt.
As you probably know, kilts are traditionally plaid, and if that plaid pattern is associated with a Scottish clan, it's called a tartan. And of course, since The Simpsons is a comedy, Willie makes damn sure you know that real Scotsmen heavily favor going commando.
There's no more than what God gave me, you Puritan pukes.
This makes for at least one great reference to the movie Basic Instinct.
I could nae have shut Burns.
This is your last warning about that.
And a Free Willy parody where Willie frees his Willie. And you know it's a woolly Willie.
Yeah, this lass needs a bit of groundskeeping. That's Willie!
Today, kilts are primarily reserved for formal events. And as far as I can tell, it's never like you'd walk around Scotland and all the guys would be wearing kilts around town. I even came across a Scottish saying that kilts are only worn by Scots when they're visiting North America and Americans when they're visiting Scotland. I imagine that's an oversimplification, but it does recontextualize kilts as more similar to a tuxedo or even an Uncle Sam costume than a pair of jeans. And the idea that Scotsmen didn't protect their nards in time of war is, if you'll pardon the expression, phallically fallacious. No, don't pardon that. Execute that expression and tell it I hate it. The misconception that underwear wasn't worn under a kilt probably stems from the fact that old-timey shirts used to have long tails that wrapped around under you and served the same purpose. So, the uniform codes of some Scottish military regiments didn't include undies in the inventory. But that doesn't mean they were just like whipping their boys around the battlefield. If you toss on just a kilt and visit Scotland tomorrow and flash a bunch of folks your testicles, expect the same sort of consequences you would get anywhere else.
Ow! You're pummeling me!
Stuff that makes you want to punch a guy. Scotland. Bagpipes. I don't have a ton more to say about bagpipes, and even Willie plays them surprisingly sparingly throughout the series. Bagpipes are the national instrument of Scotland, played at weddings, funerals, and public events, and widely hated around the globe. Without a strong background in music theory, I was only able to cobble together a few reasons for that. A, bagpipes can't not be played very loudly. B, they drone with a constant undertone. And finally, they are not aligned to the same temperament as the bulk of other classical instruments. Without getting into exactly what a musical temperament is, let's just say bagpipes don't play well with others.
The eagle doesn't care what you see.
Also, they probably originated in Egypt, actually.
Let's go, you wee Israelites. Back to slaving!
Now it's time to address the pink elephant in the room. Willie's a drinker.
Oh, I'll wax the upstairs and I'll wax the downstairs and I'll get drunk in the library.
I'm so drunk I can barely see, but it helps me get through another day. My stomach is filled with haggis and head. I've got to go puking some hay.
And although, according to joke math rules, you could technically hang that on either him being Scottish or the dirt poor illiterate janitor at a small town elementary school, the fact that we most often see him downing brown liquor from square bottles means the writers likely have the Scottish-Irish whiskey joke bucket in mind. And yes, that bucket is full of green puke. Most damning, they recently did the joke where you omit the punchline because you've run that punchline so completely into the ground that it obviously goes without saying now.
The Scotch invented hopscotch and Scotch tape.
What about Scotch whiskey?
Never heard of it.
See, it's funny because alcoholism defines him. Incidentally, we don't know who invented hopscotch, but Scotch tape was invented in 1930 by 3M engineer Richard Drew. The legend goes that it's called Scotch tape because the initial version only had adhesive down the sides of the strip of cellophane, but not down the middle. And someone testing the product for 3M suggested that they, quote, tell their Scotch bosses to stop being so cheap and put adhesive on all the way. This change was ultimately made, which is why you're constantly getting tape stuck to your fingers while you're trying to tape stuff. And of course, that employee was given a big raise and promotion for his overt prejudice. Scotch tape was first released and marketed to the public during the Great Depression, and ads for it of the time leaned into the idea that if you were struggling financially, you could use this new tape to fix things around the home rather than pay to repair them. Again, cheap, like a Scot. That's why the box is plaid.
Ah, so cheap, eh?
Ah, so cheap to you.
Don't. You're making it worse. Please don't do that, Clippy, okay? The same logic is behind the name of another 3M product designed to cheaply maintain your furnishings, Scotch Guard.
Oh my. I hope that rug was Scotch Guard.
The stereotype of the cheap Scottish person has so faded as a touchstone in pop culture and comedy, you might not even be aware of it. But it was kept alive in America for quite a while by the ethnic comedy of vaudevillian Harry Lauder, and then stand-ups like Don Rickles and Rodney Dangerfield later on.
They'll never look for us here.
Yeah, this place is emptier than a Scottish pay toilet.
The joke there being that because Scots are all naked under their kilts and natural penny pinchers, they would unanimously balk at the concept of paying to piss and instead opt to just shit right there where they're standing like an animal. Obviously, we no longer hold Scots in such low regard.
Now
Now, he may try to slobber on your crotch.
Hey, I've been around Scotsmen.
That's also why Scrooge McDuck is cheap and Scottish. Or rather, I should say that's why Ebenezer Scrooge from the original Dickens Christmas Carol was inspired by a real Scottish businessman named Ebenezer Scroggie, who was a cousin of Adam Smith. If the name Adam Smith doesn't ring a bell, he was the father of modern capitalism. Dude coined the phrase the invisible hand of the market. So, follow me now, we've successfully traced the prejudice joke Scottish people are cheap all the way up the river of ignorance to the man who invented capitalism. Plus, Scotland has a history of grappling with high poverty rates despite their big economy, meaning over the centuries, being frugal probably was something of a cultural strategy born from simple necessity. In other words, how dare these tartan, cart, and caper tossers try to better their lot in life by saving up money and thinking deeply about innovative economic structures? Tight-fisted pricks.
Willie hears ya. Willie don't care.
But not all tropes are pejorative, and like many groups we see as poor, uneducated, drunk, and angry, The Simpsons also shows Willie to be toughened by hardship, unflappable, and straight up yoked from a life of manual labor.
Leave it to me, lads. You're looking at the four-time Aberdeen Boone Yankin champion.
When they visit Scotland, the locals are presented as equally stoic.
Ugh, the whole town's turned out. I've never seen them so excited.
Willie is so rugged-coded, he's led Mad Max Fury Road parody raids in 2 separate episodes at this point. Which, of course, makes him the perfect character to go to when there's a kid trapped down a well. Or, say, a dog in the vents.
There's nary an animal alive that can outrun a greased Scotsman.
If you'll pardon the pun, it's a well they return to a lot, as is that kid trapped down a well idea, which they recently redid a version of, except that time there really was a kid down the well, and the kid died, and Willie didn't give a shit. I don't know, maybe that's why he flipped out so hard when Bart faked it. Fun fact, Groundskeeper Willie has been shoved through the school's ventilation system by the Simpsons writers a total of 3 times. Twice he was covered in grease, once in old hot dog water, and all 3 times he was ejected into the gym.
Have you got any grease?
Yes, we do.
Then grease me up, woman!
Okie dokie.
There's over 30 years of wiener soakings in there.
This is, of course, another thing we classically associate with Scots. Sluicing around ductwork all greasy with drippings. That and filming people without their knowledge or consent.
I didn't come forward because in this country it makes you look like a pervert. But every single Scottish person does it!
He's Rowdy Roddy Peeper.
Oh, that man is sick!
Groundskeeper Willie saved you, Homer.
But listen to the music, he's evil!
Come to think of it, that aspect of Willie is probably more aimed at the way we view and joke about middle-aged men working as elementary school janitors, which makes for a handy transition.
Security tapes? There's no security tapes!
It's hard to miss the cameras. Why does the school need to watch us all the time?
School?
See? Not all comedy is racism. Some is classism.
Oh, I see. Well, it's not funny unless he's down on his knees, scooping up your little brat's puke. Thank you, you've been great.
After all, not everyone on The Simpsons who's Scottish is low status.
Now get out of my dream.
It's my dream.
Not anymore, it's not. Ramsey, awake. What in the hell was that?
It is almost certainly that latent mistrust of his janitorness that the show's invoking whenever Willie is depicted as a dangerous creep you shouldn't trust around your kids, and that's the joke. From his scarecrow wife to his licorice heroine to his crap shack, Willie is seemingly a man with nothing left to lose.
Just say the word and I'll drive this hoe in his back. I can make it look like suicide. This year, he gets it in the back.
Willie, did you get the letter about your pay cut?
Oh, my face! What drunken call girl will have me now?
Because, Seymour, I was trying to kill you.
Well, that's okay. Good man.
Well, this knive's got to carve something.
Guys also murder on mules, At the school's donkey basketball game, he wrestled the donkey to death.
You'll fry up nice tonight. My mule wouldn't walk in the mud, so I had to put 17 bullets in him.
But here's the thing, see, and cue the joke math background, please. Willie is also the opposite. Just like his Scottishness makes him sometimes a stoic hero and sometimes a hot-headed dirt farmer, his groundskeeperness seems to make him both the kind of creep who works at a school and hates the kids, as well as the kind of quietly observant staffer who could turn out to be the only one the kid can ultimately confide in.
You want to pick on immigrants? Then pick on Willie!
Willie, please. The children want to pick on someone their own size.
And Nelson's rough, but he's sweet. Plus, he thinks I have dimples.
Dimples? It's that serious?
Aye.
Shut up, you! Stop teasing the big bottom lass! She's just as God made her. Don't let him get to you, lass. Ain't too good for this place, do. Don't worry. You can win him back if you stick the landing.
Or think they can confide in until he savages them in the teacher's lounge anyway.
A Millhouse! I took my shirt into me underpants. I've got no friends, so I confide in Willie.
Oh, hello, Lisa. We were just, discussing Vasco da Gama.
And now we've strayed into bits that play on both of those ideas of janitorness at once, which makes it equally valid to build a funny moment off of him being creepy as it is to build one off of him being not creepy. Like the joke from way earlier where he pretended never to have heard of Scotch whiskey, and that is the joke. A disconfirming stance aimed at a common or developed trope can be just as effective as a punchline that supports the trope.
Oh yeah, because you know it's been long overdue a challenge. The trans community. Oh, they've had their guard down for too long, if you ask me. They'll all be checking their privilege on the way home now, thanks to you brave little cis boy.
Sorry if that was too technical. The clearest example of this I could find was a moment where Willie's so genuinely touched that Bart confided in him that he tattoos a fresh journal entry into his forearm like a creep.
A child thanked me. I got to write this in my journal. Dear Diary, today.
In other words, when it comes to building a Simpsons character, every facet or joke lane is a coin with two sides. You may have heard Simpsons fans talk online about Homer versus jerk-ass Homer, which is when the writers make Homer do something so over-the-top cartoonish in terms of its disrespect for Marge or neglect of his kids, that you have to accept it as a totally silly punchline in order for the part at the end where they make up again to work. Storytelling involves consent and collaboration, and part of the effort you bring to a show like The Simpsons without even clocking it is the effort of deciding which character beats really speak to how that character really is, and which are reality-breaking or meta jokes meant to be understood as comical exaggeration. This is often called the suspension of disbelief, or S&D. I love S&D.
I like men now.
If you don't want to SD, you could also self-educate on the terms meta, Brechtian, or kayfabe.
Wait, Santa's little helper had puppies before, and then we got him neutered.
All of these require you to hold contradictory understandings of a character in mind at the same time. Willie is a bleak, stab-happy monster, yet also routinely goes above and beyond for cute animals.
Don't worry about your wee fish, lass. They're going to a better place. Don't feel bad for losing. I was wrestling wolves back when you were at your mother's teat. Don't worry, I'll give you a home. He's an irritable, wall-eyed, misfit bastard. Just like Willie. Oh.
Now to fool the queen with a pig's heart.
I cannot do it. If I don't save the wee turtles, who will? That'll do, Snake. That'll do.
The benefit to a joke writer here is that humor is often as impactful as it is surprising, and playing with sharply contrasting elements or opposites gives you a lot of control over when you want to zig or zag. That jerking around of audience expectation is, you know, funny, I guess.
In conclusion,
Willie
is a land of contrasts. Thank you. Ow! I can't breathe.
It's also kind of how real people work. Usually if you orbit around something that defines you as a character or person, you'll end up experiencing or embodying both sides of that issue, even its contradictory aspects. But contradiction and surprise aren't the only way to construct a joke, nor is mocking ethnic outgroups. My favorite set of Willie jokes are the ones where he's just a supernaturally good groundskeeper.
I enjoy humor when no one gets hurt.
I mean, there's still a subversion of expectation there, in the sense that you're banking off of the idea that there's no reason someone should be so dedicated to their janitorial duties that their most prized possession would be a sculpture made of students' lost retainers. Or they'd pray to God to spare them from death just long enough to wax one more hallway. Or they'd get a dustpan and broom cybernetically grafted onto themselves in place of their arms. But you know what? I feel that dedicated to this job, and all I'm doing is talking about a TV show. Whether any given janitor or groundskeeper or Michael Swaim out there feels fulfilled, we as a whole traditionally consider janitor a dead-end job you don't want or fail into, which makes it funny, in a sort of uplifting way, to hear Willie expressing such fondness for it as a life path.
Oh, my beauty. Were it not a violation of God's law, I'd make you my wife. Heck, she's a bunny pile. Oh! Whoa! That's a nasty glug! Och, 'tis a mighty pottle of puke.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right, lad. It reminds me why I got into this business. This sawdust'll soak up the puke from the roller coaster. It's Willie's special blend. Hoist in a bag. Aye, there's no better feeling in here. Oh, the wood chipper. Is there any sweeter music?
Willie, darling, come back to bed. Don't you love me?
Don't compete with my job, Inga. You'll never win.
He's just a great groundskeeper, as Superintendent Chalmers at one point explicitly confirms.
I pulled a prank for some daft Scottish reason.
I'd fire that man if he weren't so damn good at what he does.
Like most sitcom characters who stick around for over a decade, Willie has taken on the auspices of being what he is, as if fashioned that way for our entertainment by destiny.
So, how did you spend your summer?
I made millions in software and lost it at the track. Ugh.
It is with great joy and a sense of once again everything is back to where it started that we welcome our once and future groundskeeper, Willie!
He is emphatically a school groundskeeper through and through, and to a hyperbolic supernatural degree. In his episode, My Fair Laddie, he tries, with Lisa's help, to upgrade his life from miserable to adequate.
Don't you ever hope for anything better?
Something better? For Willie? All I want is a place somewhere.
And?
Oh, to have me shack rebuilt. Something on underneath me kilt. Oh, wouldn't it be adequate? Oh, wouldn't it be adequate? I feel like I could be indoors all night. Could use a fork and knife, start not a single fight.
Only to be drawn right back to his beloved shack and rut so the show can snap back to normal.
But I long for the shack where I live.
It's exactly the Apu episode. Exactly. Which I found comforting.
Liked it the way it was.
Whenever Springfield is destroyed, be it in Lego form or the movie version, Willie is always there to help rebuild and or sweep away big broken pieces of dome. He's a janitor's janitor and a Scotsman's Scotsman. And hopefully you have a better fix on what exactly I mean by both of those things now.
Marge, my friend, I haven't learned a thing.
Yes, I've worked my Willie raw for you, but we're not done yet. Astute viewers will note I haven't talked about one key part of the Scottish temperament yet. The temper.
Make way for Willie! I said make way for Willie, you bloated gasbug! If I wanted to see a man eat an orange, I would have taken the orange eating class. Oh, man, you ruined the atmosphere, you daft pansy.
Well, this is my rumpus room. You Scots sure are a contentious people.
You just made an enemy for life. I'll be bringing spark plugs to chuck at people I don't like you. I'll suck your lungs dry. Because the world is better off with 4 fewer Welshmen. Everything in this country is backwards and wrong. I'll kill that, Mr. Burns. I'll get you, Bart Simpson, if it's the last thing I do. You thieving grease pundits. I'll kill ya. I'll kill ya. I'll kill ya. I'll kill ya. I'll kill ya for what you done to me.
I'll kill ya! I'll kill ya for what you done to me! Sorry. Just momentum. But as an American, a car driver, and a father myself, sir, I can certainly understand anger. There's some stereotype overlap here in that Scots are sometimes considered quick to anger. Scots and Irish people are thought to all have red hair, and people with red hair have historically been considered wild or quick-tempered because of literally just our feelings around the color red.
Red-headed twins? Their mother must have her hands full.
It's the mad color, you know. When you see it, it's the ketchup one.
Ketchup? Ketchup. Ketchup.
Red makes bulls hulk out, your blood oxygenated, and in hair form for a long history of sectarian violence and soccer hooliganism. Or so goes the illogic.
Call this a soccer riot? Come on, boys. Let's take him to school.
Based on my own research, I dare say most Scots would describe their national character less as quick-tempered and more as bluntly honest, dour, or simply not cutely, awkwardly Hugh Granting your way through life like an oh my and haw hammer.
Yes. Well, that's not too bad.
Many of them take issue with the polite pretension of the English, you see.
Oh, it's good to hear a boisterous American laugh.
And we'll get into that rivalry more later, but for now, I want to focus in on how The Simpsons uses Willie once they get him angry, which unlocks one of the show's greatest inventions and most enduring references, the torch-wielding mob of angry townsfolk who are coming to kill you.
Look, those idiots don't even know where we live.
Chapter 3. When's Willie? The first time the residents of Springfield mobbed up to punish the Simpsons for their crimes was all the way back in The Telltale Head, the one where Bart saws off the head of the Jebediah Springfield statue in the town square. A town square modeled after a scene from The Music Man, by the way, but my crack superiors have informed me that if I mention The Music Man anymore, they'll have me garroted. And rightly so. Willie wasn't a part of that mob because he hadn't been invented yet, much like Disco Stu, who first showed up at the yard sale from the George Bush episode.
Stu, you should buy that. Hey, Disco Stu doesn't advertise.
The role of Groundskeeper Willie was initially intended as a disposable one-off. Halfway through season 2, Simpsons writer David Stern needed a punishment to befall Bart that would get Homer called down to the school.
What you done now?
Well, I'm afraid this time the victims are the innocent blades of grass on Groundskeeper Willie's award-winning playfield.
While recording the voice of the incidental groundskeeper character who basically has no punchlines, Dan Castellaneta decided to zhuzh it up with a few takes in a broad comical accent. A Mexican accent! Gosh, what a missed oportunidad for 26 años of good harmless fun that could have been.
I'm sorry, I'm really not comfortable with this, Ethan.
What's the matter, love?
It's just, it's the same old tired gags, isn't it?
Director Sam Simon reportedly urged Dan to try a few other accents, so he also tried a big dumb Swede and then finally an angry Glaswegian, which is what you call someone from Glasgow, and Willie was born. Dan has since said that he was doing a loose impression of an old Dave Thomas character from the sketch show SCTV, Scottish blues singer Angus Crock. Mike Myers' career started the same way. Oh, David Stern, by the way, brother and spitting image of Daniel Stern, the other wet bandit from Home Alone and narrator of the Fred Savage sitcom The Wonder Years. I have no real point here except hooray nepotism, and if you didn't get this reference, now you do.
You're already taking care of Maggie, and Lisa is such a handful.
She means you should get a job, stupid.
Me?
Get a job? Were they serious? I didn't realize it at the time, but a little piece of my childhood had slipped away. Forever.
Bart, what are you staring at?
Nothing.
David Stern wrote most of the really good Julie Kavner episodes like Selma's Choice and Homer Alone, so good on him. But he deserves almost no credit for Willie, who basically started life as just an accent Dan can do. This is a surprisingly great way to create Simpsons characters, as it turns out, as it was Dan's idea to make Mayor Quimby sound like a Kennedy.
Greetings, fellow Irishmen and lady Irishmen. I, Joseph Fitzgerald O'Malley Fitzpatrick O'Donnell, the Edge Quimby.
Most of his characters were created this way. Homer's original voice on The Tracy Ullman Show was an impression of Walter Matthau. The blue-haired lawyer is Roy Cohn. Sideshow Mel is Castellaneta's impression of Kelsey Grammer, which to me is a very funny move. And Old Gil is clearly just Jack Lemmon's character Shelley Levine from Glengarry Glen Ross.
Huckleberry Hound, Chief Wiggum, Yogi Bear, Andy Griffith, Edward G. Robinson, Art Carney.
Okay, two weird things here. One, they also already had the real Jack Lemmon as a voice in the Pretzel episode and doing the same bit. Second, a Glengarry is the name of that signature Scottish hat Willie wears when he breaks out his finery, and we're back again. The writers also deftly brought Willie back time and again, and guided by some of the stereotypes we just covered, they eventually made him the poster child for one of the Simpsons' secret weapons, the angry mob. Dismantling a burlesque house? Willie's your man.
I'm gonna take me home a toilet.
Need a character to cry for blood at the Ultimate Punch, Kick, and Choke Championships? Paging Dr. McDougal.
Come on, you pansies! I've seen fiercer fights in Parliament! Yes! What is this? Prime Minister's question time?
Yeah, is it that?
Mo is often there as well for these angry scenes of desperate violence, and that makes a lot of sense. But when there was a literal riot in Springfield around the issue of rioting, guess who was out there flipping cars for Team Pro Riot? Willie. When Springfield rioted over a pudding promotion, Willie was there to tackle flip the mobile Van Gogh exhibit. When they rioted over area codes, Willie personally pulled the catapult they used to attack famed Englishman The Who. When there was that fake angel that also turned out to be a promotional event, Willie led the raids on the Museum of Natural History and Springfield Robotics Lab.
Why was I programmed to feel pain?
He's a Brockman-beating Burns basher who's not above a little looting to boot. And you know what you're gonna need with those boots you looted?
Oh, look at all these tube socks!
In fact, The Simpsons, the show, will even shield Willie from crowd scenes that resolve amicably. Like, remember when I said he helped rebuild Flanders' house? Allow me to prove that now. There he is. He quite memorably rouses the mob against Mr. Burns when he looks like an alien in the X-Files episode.
I bring you love. It's a monster! Kill it! Kill it!
But then mysteriously disappears from all of the subsequent crowd shots of everyone singing together. Like he just wouldn't fit in that peaceable context. There's a similar effect in Brother from Another series, when Willie's featured quite prominently howling for Sideshow Bob's blood outside the prison, yet vanishes the instant the crowd turns friendly. I think, to the writers, Willie represents Springfield's anger. You can't just plop him into a happy crowd, he stands out too much. I mean, this is a man who wears his work overalls to a Squidport opening gala, you know? He's not exactly a sophisticate. But I think it's actually kind of cool that Willie nabbed the role of lead mobsman because of the quiet importance of the angry townsfolk trope to not just The Simpsons, but South Park, adult animation, and modern sitcoms as a whole. While I explain what I mean, I'll be showing you lots of additional footage of Willie in crowd scenes, angry and otherwise, to give us a feel for how his passive presence in Springfield has waxed and waned over 30 plus years. Naturally, to help you spot him, I will use that Schindler's List effect where the little girl's jacket was the only color thing on screen, and that's how you know she died later. It's just the obvious way to do it. Anyway, what my character would say in an After Hours episode about this topic is as follows. Hey, what's with the ready supply of farming implements in Springfield? Like, seriously, who's providing these people with literal pitchforks and torches when they riot? Because that seems like a lucrative market in the Simpsons universe. Then Daniel would point out that that imagery is in fact a reference to the granddaddy of all angry mobs, the one that came for Frankenstein's monster at the end of his book, the name of which always escapes me. To this day, storytellers often turn to Frankenstein to mine leggy buckets for compelling, resonant imagery about persecution or what it is to be a misfit. It's a good book. And then Sorensol and several good movies. The image of a mob of townsfolk specifically wielding pitchforks and torches is Frankenstein-inspired shorthand for "and then everyone in town got pissed." Really? Everyone? Yes! For the tripartite sakes of clarity, simplicity, and impact, Springfield is a monolith, and Willie is their designated mob leader. You may notice this as the same way South Park uses rabble, rabble, rabble. Or the opposite of, which as we kind of discussed earlier is just the negative space of the same as Monty Python's "and then there was much rejoicing."
And there was much rejoicing.
So you can understand then why it's almost necessary to have someone in Springfield who can stand in for the whole town when it's time for Bart to get his comical comeuppance, or Moe to be unfairly persecuted for the 1000th soul-crushing time.
Now this is what I'm talking about!
Other than that, Willie? Sure, you'll see him around. Like, for a misanthropic, impoverished recluse, Willie sure goes to a lot of community events. NASCAR stuff, casino demolitions, Tom Savini special effects demos at the Android's dungeon. You know, normal groundskeeper-y stuff. He even shows up quite pointedly at the St. Paddy's Day Irish Pride Parade, presumably in case a riot forms or needs to form. And in fact, after scanning through every Simpsons episode multiple times, I can anecdotally say Willie's probably the second most featured supporting character in Simpsons crowd shots. It's like him and the Hibberts tied for second. The least used? Dave Shutton, the reporter from the episode with the three-eyed fish.
And I've already got the perfect headline. Activity participated in by some. Hey, that's great.
Dave Shutton, Springfield Daily Shopper. Who are you? Where are you going? Oh, do your research, Shutton.
Like a blue moon. No, even rarer, a bowling ball moon. Before we wrap this chapter,
Third chap.
I'm sure you're wondering, who's number one then? And here's where pretend Katie Willard would swoop into the imaginary After Hours episode you forgot I was writing and drop a mind-blowing conspiracy theory to hotwire the conversation and win it all. I call it ... Katie would say, speaking to Ruth to Powers. Season 4, Episode 8, New Kid on the Block. Ruth Powers moves in next door to The Simpsons. In Season 5, Ruth and Marge go on the lam in what, if you were unaware, is a parody of the awesome movie Thelma and Louise, which I highly recommend. It's almost like Marge was getting her own Flanders on the other side, her own neighbor to do hijinks with as their relationship developed and deepened over the coming decades. Oh, what fun. And a win for our oft-fridged female lead. That was the last time Ruth Powers spoke on the show for 9 seasons. In fact, the next time she ran into Marge, the writers tossed in an excuse for why Ruth hasn't been around.
Ruth Powers? My old neighbor? Oh my goodness, look at you.
I got this body in prison. I was Miss Mexican Mafia 3 years in a row.
And then that was the last time Ruth Powers spoke on the show for another 19 seasons. Her daughter Bart had a crush on must be long dead by now.
You haven't stopped by to say hello in 25 years. And I live next door.
But here's the thing, guys, Katie would say, speaking to us around the diner table. She has been around. In fact, In scanning through all of The Simpsons trying to find even the smallest hint of my Willie, I discovered that Ruth Powers is the single most frequently featured character in The Simpsons. And now, as I show you Schindler's List-ized footage to prove that point, I will sing the Ruth Powers song. Ruth Powers! The neighbor they love to draw, but she mustn't talk. She's high in propinquity, which means ubiquity or proximity. Always close, never heard by anyone.
Max Power! How's every little thing?
According to the Simpsons wiki, Ruth appears in at least 120 episodes. Willie and the Hibberts are her closest competitors when it comes to popping up in crowd shots silently, but they tend to appear in streaks. Like the producers realize they're overusing them and then retire them for a bit and then bring them back. Ruth is just there and stays there. Even in shots where the animators ran out of time and filled the crowd with 50 copies of a generic, bland, non-guy, they still take the time to include a Ruth. In fact, here's a shot where Ruth is visible in the background and then walks into the foreground anyway. That happens again at the Brother Faith revival, if indeed this is Ruth Powers in an alternate outfit, which I can't prove but highly suspect. So there are at least 2 Ruths in Springfield, which would increase their powers dramatically.
I have the power!
Ruth is easy to spot because of her signature red headscarf, which is likely a reference to Rhoda Morgenstern, the best friend neighbor character on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, who was also known for her iconic scarves. Now, the cool connection here is that Julie Kavner, the voice of Marge, played Rhoda's sister on Rhoda's spin-off show Rhoda, which you can see a poster for in the Simpsons spin-off showcase. Now, let us never say the word Rhoda again. And, for the record, there are at least 2 Willies in Springfield as well. When Chalmers hires Willie to make sushi for Shauna's bat mitzvah, he appears at the buffet and ceremony simultaneously.
When Willie turned 13, it was time to work in the mines.
So let's be ruthless with our remaining time and keep riding the Willie we came in with, as we examine Groundskeeper Willie and Principal Skinner as comedic foils.
I mean, I don't want to sound pretentious here, but
Willie
and Skinner comprise a dramaturgical dyad.
Prepare to be impressed. Chapter 4. Where's Willie?
Prepare to be disappointed!
No, not where Willie, where's Willie? As in, where does he fit into the social structure of the school where he executes 90% of his scenes? Interestingly, in this case, we see a pretty clear and linear progression over the course of the show. Willie's power only increases. And with that power comes great responsibility, like another dude in red cross-hatched pajamas I could mention. Early on, he serves primarily as Skinner's loyal enforcer, willing to do the jobs the principal doesn't want to dirty his hands with, up to and including limited child abuse.
Willie, you can throw out the other projects. We have a winner.
Willie, destroy it.
Destroy that balloon.
Aye!
Willie?
Aye, sir!
Willie?
And then eventually what I like to tactfully call unlimited child abuse.
I'll mop up your blood from the inside!
Willie, we have 2 more names for the wall.
This very loose definition of a groundskeeper's duties expands to include a dizzying range of on-campus maintenance and service tasks, including but not limited to rounding up kids and making them stay at the school, separating kids and sending them away from the school, working backstage during school plays, performing in school assembly sketches, serving the orange drink at PTA meetings and other school functions, coaching both dodgeball and basketball, school apiarists, the Statham kind.
From context, I can tell that means beekeeper.
Asbestos reinstallation, repainting the signs on the all-gender bathrooms for kids with 2 heads, banner management and reclamation, tater tot management and reclamation, tossing out dead kids stuff, comes up a lot.
Into your hands, I commend this crap.
Taking at-risk kids on a scared straight style court-mandated wilderness survival and skills building track. And school principal.
Willie, you're principal now.
Really? Who's the new groundskeeper?
Also you. And you don't get more money.
Ugh.
And perhaps it's that last snag about no money that forces Groundskeeper Willie to look even further afield for supplemental income. Over the years, we've seen that Willie also tends to town hall and works at least 2 summer jobs.
Man, you really know this place.
I work here in the summer.
Weekends and summers. I'm Greenskeeper Willie.
Exhausting! No wonder when winter rolls around he gets back to his first love, child abuse, both limited and
I have reconstructed the ultimate instrument of colonial justice, the dunking stool.
In short, Willie's been required to do a wide array of unsavory and amoral things to survive his time in Springfield, likely due in no small part to the fact that he's a multiple murderer career alcoholic living under a false name in a foreign land. He's desperate, and he'll do almost anything for a buck. And as we know, it's not the size of your willy, but how you use it. Laddies.
You used me, Skinner! You used me!
And that brings us to another key joke math indicator, which is character status. In many, but not all comedy situations, it's important to know who's got more power, whether that power is justified, and whether they and then the audience see that clearly. A low status character that knows it can be pretty funny, like a Mo Sislak.
I don't deserve this kind of shabby treatment.
Or we could laugh at the pompousness of some high-status buffoon who doesn't deserve what they have, like Kent Brockman. Willie most commonly does bits with Principal Skinner and Superintendent Chalmers, who's always treated as high status and knows it. Skinner's status, on the other hand, has historically been more fluid, since he can sometimes come across as a scary Vietnam vet with a psycho-style mother complex.
You made a big mistake, Skinner.
Well, so did you. You got an ex-Green Beret mad.
But sometimes, and more frequently as the show's gone on, that same complex is presented as more of a pathetic, milquetoast mama's boy type situation. Mom, don't mess with it, please. You gotta get out of shot.
Seymour, do you want me to tell you when it's 7:30?
No, Mother. I have many issues with my beloved Mother.
For a long time, I think fueled by the dominant tropes and stereotypes around janitor characters mostly, and less the Scottish angle, Willie was always low status when paired with Skinner. He'd even be low status around the kids usually, because we think of that as one comical dimension of janitorness. Like a jester or a garbage man, a groundskeeper is an adult with a job we've sanctioned looking down on.
Make sure to give those toilets a good scrubbing. We want the old girls sparkling when I get back.
Aye, sir.
Wise counsel, William. But the potty talk adds nothing.
Aye, sir.
And I'm sentencing you to 1 week of the lowest, most degrading work known to man. Janitorial work.
Oh, I'm standing right here, sir. Oh, look at all this puke. Why did I come in on my day off?
Can't you turn your hose on them?
They're wee children. I'd sooner turn it on myself.
Well, that's a good idea, too.
It's my 20th year, too.
The teacher's lounge is for teachers, Willie.
Willie. He'll buy beer for you, but he'll make you drink it with him.
There's a wonderful young person here who's feeling a little discouraged.
I sure am.
This young lady...
Oh. God bless you.
Even the kids have unrealized potential. But a janitor, for comedy's sake, is just a sad old coot who failed out of all the good adult jobs.
Oh, I just came in to take out the trash.
And you shall leave immortal. Also, take out the trash.
Cleaning up after people equals low status, poor, and poorly educated.
Really? You're on Skinner's side?
He gave me something you never could. An elementary school diploma.
Willie's so low status, the whole town once got together and decided to gaslight and traumatize him just to teach Homer and Bart a lesson about pranks.
I can't believe everyone was in on it. Willie wasn't!
And that's why you don't teach lessons to your son.
And he was the linchpin of the sting. Willie's constantly disrespected, despite being foundational to Springfield. The bottom of the pyramid, if you Willie. And, I mean, my God, all the man ever wanted was a crystal bucket for his slop water. Willie's shack, the same shack he loves so much because it feels so like him, is treated as cursed. The worst place on school grounds you can be sent.
There is one place on school property that falls outside all laws of man or God.
No, you don't mean...
The beautiful shack! Fun, I just got it the way I like it!
My locker's gone!
Your effects have been moved to Willie's shack.
Come along, lad, and lose your books.
But, as I said, that's changed over the years. If you'll adjust your eyes and brains to vaguely register what era of animation we're looking at in each upcoming clip package, you'll see that, some exceptions and outliers aside, Groundskeeper Willie has steadily risen in stature over time. Most notably in his relationship to Skinner. I like to think we know the exact moment it all started to turn around, too.
Well, I see you Scotsmen are thrifty with courage, too.
Okay, Skinner. That's the last time you'll slap your Willie around.
Oh hey, another antiquated reference to cheap Scotsman. Bonus. At any rate, I suspect the real reason for this shift was Skinner-led. The writers have steadily banked more jokes in the Skinner's a loser bucket than the Skinner is a war-shattered psycho bucket, especially once Chalmers started scoring big laughs by dunking on him repeatedly around season 7. So, to give Skinner more room to mine jokes from the well, he became ever more the low-status bumbler to Chalmers and pathetic mama's boy to Agnes, and likewise started losing the respect of his staff, Willie most notably.
I lost all me screw you money.
I'm very sorry to hear that, Willie.
Screw you!
Willie, we've got rats chewing through the wiring again.
Leave me alone. I'm making me ramen noodles.
Principal Skinner!
It's Groundskeeper Skinner now.
Assistant Groundskeeper, you puke. 2 languages and somehow no one will talk to you.
He estas vera. Willie, cut me a switch.
What about the one your ma used on you?
It broke on my buttocks.
What I find fascinating is those scenes play on the same stereotypes we've discussed, but from the other side of the figurative coin, where once Willie's rural background and potentially some measure of his Scottishness made him dirty and foolish in our eyes, now that same background codes him as rugged and sensible, while Skinner is a total soy boy beta bro cucka-doodly-doo diddly-oodler. You know what I mean?
All I know is that no one is better than anyone else and everyone is the best at everything.
Not you! You're the worst!
See? There's Willie shutting down some PC nonsense, and we see that as a power move. Whereas 15 years prior, it's way more likely Willie would have said something ignorant or offensive as the punchline instead. It's almost like story is an illusory construct that means whatever we want to and can change on a dime. Drinking whiskey can signify that your character's sad and lonely, or it can make you Ron Swanson. This is in part why comedy becomes dated so quickly. What's really cool is that once both joke buckets are established, you can do bits that play on both sides of the same coin at once. It's a bucket shaped like a coin, that's how. Here's a joke where Willie's presented as dunking on the school kids from a place of high status while highlighting his abject poverty and place on the bottom rung of Springfield society.
We're just taking away the art room.
I'll be cooking my lean cuisine in your kiln tonight.
Oh! Unjustified high status line we know is low status? Giving us tacit permission to feel superior to a character and thereby accomplished? Always funny. Especially if you explain it after like I'm doing. So, as Skinner's power waned, Willie's waxed. And both as a groundskeeper and a Scot, he's become a caricature of strength, where once there was weakness. Unless Chalmers is there. Chalmers trumps them both.
I can make these two kiss all day if I have to.
Of course, there's one particular format of insult Willie's always been S tier at. And in this case, the S does stand for Scottish, but also a specifically syntactically structured string of slanderous slang. You noun, verb, and adjective verbs.
You silk-wearing Buttercup, you croquet playing mint muncher, you bath-taking underpants-wearing lily hugger, see you in hell, you wingless bloodsuckers, you noodle-armed choir boy, you brunch-eating popinjay, you becapen gob-smashers, you debt-ridden chalk-sniffers, you red rubber home-wrecker, you nose-wiping hair-combers, you cheese-eating surrender monkeys, slow down, you sidewalk-surfing queue-cleaners,
You guff-speaking work slacker.
Ooh, good comeback.
Aye, that's the stuff.
That's the stuff.
And it is that stuff which inspired me to end Chapter 4 with our one and only game today, other than the other game at the end. It's time for Scottish SLANG-WHANG. I love slang. I hope you do too. Let's wang some. Special thanks and official shout-outs to 3 Scotland natives who kindly took the time to speak with me for this video and contributed handily to the wang we are about to enjoy. One is called Lindsay Hutchinson, one is called Weege, at least on the Small Beans Discord server where we met, and one is called Eleanor Morton, who's a very talented and extremely Scottish author and comedian I highly recommend. Called. That's how they say named over there. More on all 3 of those conversations later. For now, I'm gonna toss out some increasingly obscure Scottish slang, and your job will be to shout out the definitions before I do. Preferably in a Scottish brogue, preferably on public transportation. Wanker. Masturbator. Twit. Fool. Tosspot. Also a fool, but technically a drunken fool who tosses back lots of pots of ale. No one actually uses it that way, but that's why I'm here.
Who knows gob to gob?
Gob.
You know, mutton hole to mutton hole.
Mouth, gob means mouth. And shite means shit. Does gob shite mean mouth shit?
Ugh, we're out of chalk.
Braw. Fine. Good. Like good weather, or someone looks fine. If the thing that holds your boobs up looks fine, you just don't talk about that. Dinna fash. Don't stress. As in, no worries, brah. Shoot. No, wait, that's confusing too. Damn, there goes my California Scottish surfer dude character. Ew, what are those yous doing here? More of a Welsh thing. I'm so sorry. Waxy in your beaster.
What? Have you gone waxy in your beaster? I cannot fit now even.
All 3 of my Scottish ringers confirmed that this means nothing whatsoever in Scotland, but from context clues, I'm gonna guess Willie here means to liken the human skull to a beehive and suggest thereby that Skinner's thoughts have metaphorically turned from sweet, useful honey to dumb, stupid wax. Hashtag believe bees.
Willie, kill the bees.
Not till I hear their side of it.
Get it, Rooney? No, I'm not selling apples. I'm telling you to get it round you, or wrap your head around that sucker, as in eat it, suck it, accept.
Accept what?
No, I meant you should accept your terrible fate.
Oh.
Get laldi. A sound drubbing, or even just to do something really hard. Speaking of which, strikingly, the hardest hitting and most Scottish piece of slang ever dispensed on The Simpsons comes neither from Willie nor his archenemy Seamus.
Oh, yes, Seamus. 90 minutes of watching a man drink in a bathtub.
Seamus also seen here on a braw day, hoisting a flag to reveal a woman's... Uh-oh, really painted myself into a corner here.
Oh my God, we saw the principals.
Point is, you've had more than enough time to predict our final wang of slang, one of my favorite phrases ever Simpsons.
Jobbers, cob milk, ya mucker! All done.
And if you guessed that mucker means gobshite and cobnob is a testicle, hey, let's say you win? In reality, my ringers Lindsay, Eleanor, and Weege also called this one out as totally fake. And in fact, Weege pointed out that mucker can mean mate in Scotland, as in someone you go mucking about with. The takeaway I'll carry home is that the Scottish accent just lends itself well to yelling words angrily, whether as a bit or a threat. Weege agreed, and recommends any word with a nice heavy mouthfeel, like calling someone a fucking plum, tadger, dauber, wankstain, or muppet. Lindsay also likes muppet, but added bawbag, fanny, fanny baws, bampot, melter, numpty, and raj, which sounds like a great cop show. Numpty and raj. So truly, It's like anything. Watch, I'll make some new ones. Bort, Drummond, NASDAQ, Trebek.
Zabar, Kresge, Caldor, Walmart.
So that's the end of the game. Total up your score, and if you got more than me, I hate you, but I fear you. Pretty good. If you like slang like I love Whang, you might also love Scottish stand-up Daniel Sloss's chunk on swearing, which Lindsay recommended and I watched, and now I do too.
Swearing as a Scottish person is a lot like having a drum kit backing up your rant. It's just like, fuck, shit, fuck, shit, fuck, motherfucker, piss, pissing bastard, shit, fuck, cunt, piss. It's very rhythmic.
I'm laughing to fit in, but I still don't get it.
Chapter 5. Wise Willie. No, not Wise Willie. Wise Willie, as in why is. Like the series of questions that we've been doing. See, I never should have put Clippy in charge of the chapter breaks. They're worse at programming contractions than Dr. Noonien Soon.
I get that reference.
That's right, you warp-traveling phase modulators. I could have picked any supporting Simpsons character to do this with, and I chose Willie because he is inherently a Star Trek reference. I will insert Star Trek into your cultural diet until we achieve a Star Trek future. Content, thought, behavior, utopia.
Breeding will be permitted once every 7 years. For many of you, this will mean much less breeding. For me, much more.
You cannot do that, sir! You don't have the power!
If you're unfamiliar, Scotty, played by actor James Doohan on Star Trek The Original Series, was the OG chief engineer of the Starship Enterprise. He became famous for ratcheting up the tension of episodes by informing Captain Kirk that they simply cannot do the thing that he just said they'll die if they don't do it. He cannot do it.
It's not good, Captain. I cannot reach the control panel.
Over the years, this was shortened to the meme phrase, I don't have the power. Although, I don't think Scotty ever said those exact words in that order on Star Trek The Original Series. Although to verify that, I guess I'd have to go watch all of Star Trek, and I'm very tired. Anyway, here's a lazily ripped AVI of Ace Ventura saying it, so you know it's foundational pop culture.
Ace, get out of the tank.
I just can't do it, Captain. I don't have the power!
As we discussed, Dan Castellaneta actually considers Willie's voice a spontaneous impression of an old SCTV Dave Thomas character.
Can we get the wee animal faces on this for tomorrow? That'd be too much to ask. I'm Angus Croc, and have a lucky day, will you?
But the Simpsons writers, being Harvard Lampoonists and general nerdlingers, they couldn't resist making Scotty jokes for very long.
You need more power. The shield won't hold much longer. I've watered her down as far as she'll go. I cannot water no more. I cannot do it. I'm only one man.
Then there are the lines that I think might be Scotty references, but also might just be general Scottish patois.
How's that door coming, Willie?
Miracles are your department, Reverend. Get a hold of yourself, lass, for the wee barons. How can the lad survive such brutal punishment? He's a drier than a Charles Grodin quip.
Charles Grodin being this guy, who you might recognize as the dad from Beethoven or the dad from Clifford, depending on how disturbing your childhood was.
If you do one thing that I find weird, which is, like your middle name, see, you're doing it right now. Can you just act like a human boy for 1 minute here? Look at me like a person.
It's okay. Just ignore it. Ignore it. Just something the body does when you're shaken.
Anyway, that's why Willie's always saying iterations of that one line. And I suspect why the older Simpsons writers took such a shine to him early on. But to be thorough, let's also do the chapter the other way. Because I do think that there's something wise Willie's been used for. Willie wise. Look, he's a groundskeeper. You're lucky I didn't do a tight 5 on Boothby, the groundskeeper at Starfleet Academy.
I already killed a groundskeeper.
Oh my, that's a bit rough.
Chapter 5b. Wise Willie. I guess that notation makes sense. But Chapter 5 proper was also called Wise Willie, spelled the same way because Clippy got it wrong. So now both are called the same thing? That's really gonna bother me. Chapter 5. Wise Willie. No, because now in the edit it feels like Chapter 5 recurred and there's 2 Chapter 5s. And one's really short. Time flows forward, Clippy. You can't just retcon time and fix it. You can't just fix us. Chapter 5C. Chapter 5 ought to have been called Wise Willie, while Chapter 5B ought to have been called Wise Willie. This chapter is intended only as a correction and not meant to otherwise interfere. Actually, that's pretty damn good. It's very clear, like painfully clear. That's what I like about it. Of course, I don't see what that has to do with Groundskeeper Willie.
We didn't mention Groundskeeper Willie, Mom.
Really, Clippy? Yes, you did, many times. And I'm not your mom, and please stop anthropomorphizing the clips while I'm infotaining, all right? My point is that we haven't touched on another key way The Simpsons and countless other long-running sitcoms extend their runs and discover new joke buckets to mine for legs, or whatever mixed metaphor I've overextended so precariously by this point. Parody, baby! True parody, where you call them the new kids on the block and underline the rump in Trump or make the S in Starbucks a $sign so you can thinly veil digs and barbs.
But it's still the best damn Starbucks in Glasgow!
Of course, you don't have to be disparaging, even. I count homage episodes as parody, too. Anything that's a full-on sound-alike that demands you cast a bunch of Springfieldianites in famous fictional or historical roles. Buffy had their musical episode, Scrubs writers had to decide what the mean janitor should be in their live-action fairy tale, and The Simpsons is so jam-packed with cultural references that parasitic reprobates like me are making their living explaining the jokes to this very day. Hey!
Guys like me! I'm a guy like me!
Willie is most often cast as the guy who warns you not to go into the haunted house or the dark woods, or similarly as the keeper of the forbidden schoolyard knowledge or ghost story.
One cold February. His name is Andy Hamilton. I know about your infernal TikTok. Push this crew too far and there'll be mutiny.
Mutiny? On the Bounty? What have you been smoking?
Opium?
But he's equally likely to show up in the story within the story as the big bad itself, like when he played Freddy Krueger or the English soldier that captured Joan of Arc.
I captured a wee girl! I'm the greatest hero in English history.
Scottish viewers loved that joke. Loved it. Willie can even ride the threat line, like Quint from Jaws, and be an unsavory character you nevertheless turn to when all other avenues of hope have been exhausted.
I'll kidnap him for 50, deprogram him for 100, and I'll kill him for 500.
No, just the first two. Either take your crabapple, or Groundskeeper Willie will say he saw you kill Miss Hoover.
Why would Willie do that?
He owes me a favor.
Criss-cross, like the plaid on me kilt.
The underlying factor that ties these roles all together is threat. Whether working for good or ill, Willie brings implied danger with him. The danger of the desperate poor, or the angry Scot, or the yoked manual laborer. Even the Grim Reaper itself.
Take the boy, his soul is fresher!
Yet each of those things isn't really as threatening as we often make it out to be. Many poor people are nicer than billionaires, if you can believe it. And he wasn't really the Grim Reaper, he was just dressed like that. That's a great bed for those rapid and seemingly contradictory or paradoxical status shifts that we talked about. An uneducated farmer in the big city might seem low status right up until they start beating the shit out of you in front of all your angel investors. Status works on multiple levels. So by judiciously drawing our attention to different established aspects of Willie's character, he becomes a gold mine of coins with little legs on them. You know what I mean? For jokes like that. Rewatch the show and tell me most of Willie's jokes aren't about a sudden shift in his status in the room.
Look at me! I'm an American boy! Uh-oh! Scared away! Okay, I'm getting... No, I'm not! Oh, I said... Yeah, okay, I'm all right. No, I spoke too soon! What are you looking at, you bastards?
The perfect example from the golden era is that Freddy Krueger one, because it embodies how easily Willie can jump from 0 to a zillion with just the right touch.
Do not touch Willie. Good advice.
When he catches on fire, that's a major status downgrade to be sure, but He seems like quite the threat when he bursts in on Skinner and the parents talking about school cafeteria lunch menus. That threat is quickly neutralized. Then Willie becomes a magic skeleton, which is very threatening if you ask me, then turns into dust and cleans himself up. The lowest status, least threatening move possible for someone who just promised to murder your kids in their dreams. Then, of course, he does that, the murder thing, and is the big bad for the whole segment, before finally getting bested by a baby in a sandbox. Then, he returns, seemingly an unkillable threat that can never be stopped, only to forget his gun on the bus and have to run down the road to Benny Hill music.
That's bad.
Can I go now?
So, one way wise writers use Willie is for status games, and his unique character history and iconography lend themselves to that. How, you ask? And to that I answer, Chapter 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How to make Willie go now. Wow. The naming convention's just a complete wash at this point. Tell you what, I'll toss in a few choice nuggets my research turned up and we'll move on to our closing segments. Make it important and cutting through the treacle. As I said, on one axis, Willie is just a punching bag for jokes about Scottish stereotypes and school janitors, where that line between offensive and edgy moves over time, and not always in the same direction. That means that while Willie's aspects and domains have remained fairly constant, he can pretty easily flip his polarity without breaking the show. He's hot-headed and drunk, but you could also say he's no-nonsense, or has hair on his chest, unlike that wimp Skinner. He's a dangerous creep, or maybe today he's lonely and tragicomically pathetic. He works outdoors with his hands for a living, which makes him dirty and uneducated, but also strong and wise. Essentially, he's whatever the joke needs. Crisscross.
Now to put on me camouflage.
Very few characters, even Simpsons characters, can alter their basic worldview, motivations, and relationship to the rest of the show as readily and rapidly as Willie does, and still come across as cohesive.
And all I do is get drunk and kill squirrels with my shovel.
Okay, now I'll translate that into romance language. Hi, I'm William. I'm a connoisseur of fine spirits, and I love animals to death.
Of course, to prove that, I'd have to, do an equally in-depth investigation of every Simpsons supporting character over the next 40 to 65 years. I'm game if you are.
This is indeed a disturbing universe.
Side note, as Skinner lost power and Willie gained it, we didn't just open up a world of scenes where Willie dunks on his boss, we also open up the middle ground, where they're low-stakes equals, riffing, like friends? But not in a way where it makes character sense, more in a way where Skinner and Willie spend so much time together they may as well step out of the show a bit and at least be civil. Despite Chalmers' assertion, Willie is frequently posted up in the teacher's lounge, goes with them on staff trips, and even helps Skinner program the lunch schedule.
Pizza's working well on Thursday, but I think the kids will follow it to Tuesday.
That's what you said about the stuffed peppers, and you lost the young males.
Long-running fiction almost always gets increasingly meta and zany over time, as writers struggle to top the show's previous offers, and The Simpsons is no exception. One reason I think a lot of people feel that it starts to lack heart, somewhere in the double digits. Nowadays, the pair is often even aware of themselves as a comic duo on a show, like that Looney Tunes where the characters clock out of their roles for the day.
Also, Groundskeeper Willie will be my roommate.
What an odd couple we'll make.
Amidst all that change, it's nice to note that some of what makes Willie work as a character still holds true. For example, don't sleep on the subtle and signature importance of the way Willie's eyeballs get a few centimeters bigger when he hits the last word of a sentence.
Well, I thought I found him, but it was only a cat.
You strays are going straight to the pound, where you'll be put to sleep by my boring stories, and then you'll be killed.
Now, I would argue that the animators placed the bug-out moment less well in the season 19 example, but that's a whole other video that I'll beat out. Probably just outline, just to see where the argument takes me. Maybe I script it. You know what, I'll make it. I'll make the video. Okay, so back next week with 4 hours on Willie's eyeballs.
No, I won't have the pleasure of country club wife to get me steak dinner.
I'm nothing if not thorough. In fact, if anyone can solve a lingering research mystery for me down in the comments, I'd really appreciate it. When Bart and Homer pull that prank I mentioned and the whole town gaslight Willie to punish them, at one point, Homer tugs on his pajama collar. This indicates an uh-oh, an oopsie, if you will. And it got me thinking about how often they actually do this move on The Simpsons, which is to say, very.
Man, it was rough getting a ride out there. The only car that stopped was a hearse that thought I fell out. It was rough, I tell you.
His liver looks healthy.
Mm-hmm. That's a wad of Laffy Taffy.
Oh, Apu, you keep scoring while my back is turned. Are you sure you're not cheating?
At first, I figured it was a Rodney Dangerfield thing, but as people have pointed out in various Simpsons forums, that's more of a loosening the tie move. And the Simpsons writers, actors, and animators are definitely instructed to have characters specifically pull at their collars and go in a way that is clearly a reference to something. Some have said Three Stooges, some say vaudeville. The preponderance of my research so far suggests that it's most likely a bit Charles Nelson Riley used to do on the Match game show, but I can't find definitive proof of that or video of him doing it in anything. I gave up when I found myself watching this clip.
I see a boy play hooky and I run to tell his mother, "Hey Ma, I love to dip mosquitoes in molasses till they smother."
It was just the right choice for my own mental health.
I think I found a way out. It's not pretty, but it'll do.
Chapter 7. I declare bankruptcy. Make it important. Wherefore art thou, Willie? I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what that means or was supposed to mean when I wrote it down high at 2 in the morning. I think Chapter 7 is a kind of bankruptcy you can file, and I know wherefore means why or as a result of which, but why, Willie? Didn't we just do 2 chapters of that?
I know those words, but that sign makes no sense.
Nevertheless, in the broad tradition of The Simpsons taught me everything, I will now endeavor to tie it all up in a neat little package and make some sense of the long and winding road we just traveled.
This is the part of the job I hate.
As I mentioned, to do so required more than simple Googling. Email was involved. DMs even. That's right, I am referring to my lovely native Scots, Lindsay Hutchinson, Eleanor Morton, and the man known only as Weege. Crack diasporist Robert Evans embeds himself in actual conflicts in war-torn countries, then writes about it. Cody and Daniel speak truth to power year after year, so what? Who cares? No big deal. I talk to 3 Scottish people. And if that doesn't make it important, or at least authentic, I don't know what is another way to end this video. So consider this an initial round of fact-checking to put what we've learned in perspective. Like, for example, remember that clip way back at the beginning where Willie said his mom was an uppie and his dad was a dooney and it tore the family apart?
I'm from Kirkwall in Orkney. My father was an uppie and my mother was a dooney.
Turns out that's a reference to an annual town-wide ball game in Orkney that none of my Scots had heard of or cared about. So I'm guessing a Simpsons writer probably read about it in an in-flight magazine about the Highlands.
It tore the family apart!
Look, I know Orkney's not technically considered part of the Highlands, even though they're north of the Highland boundary fault. It just made the joke work. See? Authenticity is important. Perspective, local flavor. So here's what I learned from my 3 Scottish people.
3 radishes. 3 big radishes.
One, as I've said, was Weege, which is short for Glaswegian, meaning someone from Glasgow, because he is. Naturally, I asked him what the core Scottish tropes are to him, a modern Scot. I guessed probably like chopped kilts boiled in a bagpipe. I call it baggis. Weege, on the other hand, said urnbrew, a sausage supper from the chippy, and seeing a guy with his top off because the temperature climbed to a balmy 60 degrees. I mean, Weege said 17 degrees, but I converted it. To be extra clear, and I quote, supper in this context isn't a mealtime, It means your order has a side of chips. That part I get, we call that a combo here, but the next part, quote, by chips I mean chippy chips, not French fries or crisps. See, I thought chips did mean French fries, and crisps meant chips, and a boot was a trunk, and then if there's junk in the trunk, it's a cake. So what the fuck is a chippy chip? Sound off in the comments, please. I was, however, able to find out a lot about Irn Brew, a regional soda Scotland is very proud of drinking more often than Coca-Cola for reasons of contrarianism. It was originally called Iron Brew and marketed as a drink to make you strong, but after a truth in advertising law came into effect and it was pointed out that the drink was not brewed, contained no iron, and didn't make you strong, they changed it to Irn Brew, and that's fine. That's allowed. You can do that. According to Wikipedia, it tastes like, quote, cream soda with an undertone of rust. Fucking A. That sucks, guys. If you're looking for a delicious carbonated beverage with a proud counterculture tradition, might I suggest Faygo? For Eleanor Morton, who you might know as an amazing stand-up, author of the book Life Lessons from Historical Women, or from her podcast Eleanor and Alasdair Read That with Alasdair Beckett King, being Scottish means being inclusive, being a smaller, more close-knit community, Burns Night, Billy Connolly, football, a strong history of protest and trade unionism, and a history weighted down by struggles with bigotry, pessimism, and trouble expressing emotion. Talk about making it important. Take that, Weege. Scotland is soda to you? Eleanor's over here talking about trade unionism. Keep up.
So we'll march day and night by the big cooling tower. They have the plant, but we have the power.
In an obvious effort to curry my favor, Weege then discussed modern Scotland's struggle with class, highlighting that in Glasgow, you can walk a few city blocks and traverse neighborhoods where male life expectancy is 10 to 15 years depressed due to poverty conditions, and unemployment rates are up around 50%. From that vantage, he says, quote, I never read Willie as the loser the show painted him out to be. He has a stable job as a janny and owns full traditional dress and a set of bagpipes. That shit isn't cheap. See, I don't even really know if those stats were true. I'm not reporting facts now, I'm quoting the person I interviewed. That's what's nice about it. From a cover my ass perspective. Weege continues, in the early 90s, I was jealous of the friend whose family could afford to go to Orlando for a holiday.
Your woman's in Orlando, man. You can't take 2 steps there without falling into a tunnel of love.
I would watch Rowdy Roddy Piper take on Hulk Hogan with stars and stripes in my eyes. And then there's Willie, living in America. If you could imagine James Brown singing that last line, I'd appreciate it. Oh, sorry, Weege. I was busy thinking of Hulk Hogan being dead now, and noting that Rowdy Roddy Piper's also dead, and then designing an imaginary ring for a zombie cage match with traps and stuff in my head.
To add a real element of danger, 1 drop of human blood.
Weege also notes that the Scottish cringe is very real. There's a feeling that nothing good ever happens to us, he said, in part because we were so successfully colonized that we became a willing participant in enacting further harm. If you haven't gathered already or weren't aware, Scotland fought multiple wars to remain independent of England throughout the Middle Ages, winning at least 2 that I'm now aware of.
I've taken all the peanut products. Just like the English took our sheep and our women in 1291. Then they sent them back, which was worse!
Ultimately, through intermarriage, politicking, and naked economic aggression, Scotland was eventually united with England as an entity called Great Britain. And ever since, there's been resentment there, and a strong drive in the modern era to make Scotland an independent nation once again, this time by legal mechanism rather than inventing the longbow. As our third Scot, Lindsay Hutchinson, puts it, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales all have cultures and histories distinct from England's. Got it. Pretty cut and dried, actually. Not sensing a ton of resentment there. Lindsay goes on, we have a sturdy pride in our nationality, but are generally lacking in the arrogance, imperialism, and exceptionalism of England. Okay, little resentment there. Just a wee bit. We have all been colonized, oppressed, and genocided by the British state and crown. The suppression of our native languages and teaching of our history still carries on to this day. Okay, now you're talking my language. This sounds like America. This I get. Bring the heat, Lindsay. Quote, "You'd have to waterboard me to get me to self-describe as British and not Scottish. The Union flag isn't called the butcher's apron for nothing." Okay, I only vaguely get that last image, but just like Willie, I do sense the underlying threat, and that's what's important. When the issue of Scottish independence came up in 2014, Willie's stance was equally clear.
Now, both sides of this argument have valid points. The freedom-loving heirs of the Highland tradition and those who enjoy crawling like worms beneath British boots. Also, I've lived in America most of my life, so I've seen firsthand how not to run a country. Gah! That's not a tattoo, it's a birthmark!
I like men now!
On this topic, Weege said, "The Scottish hate the English, the Irish hate the English, the French hate the English, but nobody hates the English like the English." Oh, and incidentally, if you thought The Simpsons was rough on the Scottish, you are just the right sort of Irish person to watch and be affected by this reel I cut together.
Let me say I've always admired the Irish, Newt Rockney, Larry Bird, and especially Mr. Potato Head.
Go on. Whoa. Can I help you?
Potato Man.
Where the hell have you been? All right, you unwanted miracles. Give back the ladies' cupcakes you don't have the teeth for.
Where's the IRA when you need them? Two kinds of Irish people? What are they fighting over? Who gets to sleep in the bathtub?
Oh, well, you mean all the ingredients, but you don't know the ratio.
50-50?
Plasma screen TV.
Summer in Tuscany.
Who are you?
Cirrhosis. What's it to you?
A sober Irishman?
Even rarer.
We drink all day, we're full of guilt. We know we're not Scots, cause we don't wear a kilt.
Eleanor adds, "In short, and to generalize, the stereotype is that we like the Irish and find the English annoying. They're seen as loud, obnoxious, posh, or overconfident. They also happen to rule Scotland from Westminster in a conservative fashion that doesn't match the trends or demographics of the country."
They're all shite!
For the sake of balance, I also asked Eleanor to explain the anti-independence argument in brief, which she describes as, quote, "charitably a financial question about how our economy and trade would look, and uncharitably the belief that Scots are too poor and stupid to rule our own country, even though we invented TV, the fridge, and penicillin." Fun facts indeed. The fridge thing, not the history of oppression. Although, that also reminds me to recommend the Proclaimers song Cap in Hand for more on this issue. In fact, I hereby recommend any Proclaimers song that isn't the 500 Miles one, because those dudes are underrated. I did ask them about haggis, which none of them eat often, but led Weege to tell me about the existence of munchie boxes. Big takeout boxes of a random cavalcade of artery cloggers fit for any fourth meal. It's a cornucopia. It's retirement grease.
Rub it against a piece of paper. If the paper turns clear, it's your window to weight gain.
Lindsay recommends a haggis pakora and said they'll only eat traditional haggis if it's served with neeps and tatties, which I'm going to assume are the sheep's nipples and titties, and there's just no way around me assuming that. On Willie's actual accent, Eleanor said it's not the worst she has heard, which would be Harrison Ford's in The Last Crusade, but it's not good. It's not accurate. Still, funny accent.
But it won't be easy to hear.
Because your stupid accent?
Och, nee!
Maniac, that's for sure. And I'm dancing like I've never danced before. We can always go. Ach, Toon. She could be right with them bugs too. I also ate the mess he left on my rug. You heard me. Turn off the noozle.
The noodles? What noodles?
The noozle at the end of the hoose.
Miss Simpson, do you find something funny about the word tromboner?
Lastly, I asked about the poetry of Robert Burns, of whom Lindsay said he was a right proper shagger as far as I know. And I asked about kilts, of which Lindsay said, if you wear one, it's legal to carry 2 knives on you. Lindsay, I love you. You're incredible. Even though some of the stuff you said contradicted the other stuff.
Brothers and sisters are natural enemies, like Englishmen and Scots, or Welshmen and Scots, or Japanese and Scots, or Scots and other Scots. Damn Scots! They ruined Scotland!
For now, for good and all, to make this episode complete, I am also going to dispense my traditional media recommendations. First, a recap of the stuff we've recommended so far that I think deserves your time. The movie Thelma and Louise. The movie Basic Instinct is also good. The stand-up of Eleanor Morton, of course, and to a lesser degree, Daniel Sloss. The Mary Tyler Moore Show and its spin-off Rhoda are both sitcoms I respect, especially for launching the career of Ed Asner, Sergeant Cosgrove from Freakazoid.
Hey, Cosgrove, how come you never got married?
Because I like meat too much.
You could be married and still eat a lot of meat.
I didn't know that.
We talked about SCTV, which was an SNL-like sketch show out of Chicago that I do recommend watching highlights from, or at least the hilarious Dave Thomas Rick Moranis movie Strange Brew.
Good day, I'm Bob McKenzie. This is my brother Doug. How's it going, eh? Welcome to our movie.
I recommend the music of the Proclaimers. Sure. I don't recommend Ace Ventura, but God help me, I do recommend Clifford. It's fucked up. It's fucked up that I did that. What's not fucked up is recommending Lindsay's award-winning music and art, which you can check out at thehoudinibox.com, or passing along Lindsay's recommendation that you watch the 2018 Netflix flick Outlaw King for a more accurate representation of Scottish history than Braveheart. Plus, in her words, Florence Pugh is in it and Chris Pine gets his cock out, so it's a win-win. And in Ouija's words, fuck Mel Gibson. To make it a win-win-win, add on my favorite movie about the existential horror of being a lonely school janitor, the Charlie Kaufman movie I'm Thinking of Ending Things. You can also catch that on Netflix, and if you have trouble accessing what's cool about it, maybe look up my own Small Beans podcast episode on the film. God, what a sad movie. Plus, that's like everything I can recommend in the entire world, I feel like, so let's cut through the treacle. Save me cutting the tea.
Might I add, eat my shorts.
Bart, just cutting through the treacle.
This is our final segment, where I traditionally play a little round of Simpsons trivia with my guest as a palate cleanser and to sort of reset our energy for the next episode. This time, in lieu of Simpsons trivia, I'll be playing Scotland trivia, our one and only game, except for the other game that came earlier. It's a solo game.
Now here's the deal. I'm gonna play, and you're gonna float there and like it.
In this solo game, I will challenge myself to quickly explain all the jokes and references made by Groundskeeper Willie that remain on my editing timeline. Like Simpsons trivia, they will escalate from not tricky at all to quite tricky indeed. Here we go, clip 1.
I'm here to audition for the part of Macbeth.
It's not Macbeth.
Is it Macduff?
Not Macduff.
Well, there's no other parts worth playing.
That's it. We're doomed. We'll just have a bake sale.
Will you serve haggis?
Macbeth is the guy from the Scottish play. Macduff kills him at the end. Haggis is a kind of pakora. Next. Clip 2. I'll do it on the fly since there's no dialogue. These all mean cold. A Glasgow winter often hovers in the low 30s to 40s Fahrenheit. Wells are cold because the sun can't get in. Your bum's cold because the blood doesn't reach all the way through the fat on your ass very well. And in traditional folklore, witches are cold-blooded and heartless, so their titties would be bad for suckling. Next! Clip 3.
Let me introduce you to your fellow agents. Old-fashioned. Rob Roy. And I'm Toilet Gin.
Rob Roy is a Scottish folk hero and revolutionary who helped lead the Jacobites in their war to keep free from England. The cocktail named after him is a mix of Scotch whiskey and vermouth, very similar to a Manhattan.
What have I done to deserve this flat, flavorless Manhattan?
Oi! Next!
Scotland once had 2 queens fighting over her. Loser got Scotland.
Willie is referring here to Mary, Queen of Scots, who went to war with Elizabeth I in the late 1500s over the throne of England, hence, loser got Scotland. Next!
I'm not a plant!
Prove it. Name the roster of the Glasgow Soccer Club.
I don't know. Is there a Rooney?
There's always a Rooney!
The primary rivalries in Glasgow footy are between the Rangers Celtic FC, the Hoops, and Partick Thistle, aka the Jags. There is currently one and only one player on any of these 3 football clubs' rosters with the surname Rooney. Partick defender Liam. Get it, Rooney!
Everybody wants to be loved.
Okay, I hate that episode. That episode sucks, but besides kicking off a weird running joke where Willie sticks stuff in his ears to avoid hearing things, even though I thought he was deaf, what happened to that? That episode's plot is a reference to the early Peter Jackson movie Heavenly Creatures, about 2 real New Zealand girls who fell into a shared fantasy world and murdered one of their mothers. It rules. It's a great movie, and please retroactively add it to the list of media recommendations from before. Clippy, next clip. Clippy, next clip.
Oh, 'tis more dizzying than the belfry at St. Carrigaglune-Wagons.
Don't know. Could not figure it out. It haunts me. I mean, I think it's just a fake church name, but all I could turn up was the official spelling. Corgegluywagns. One word, all lowercase, and that'll connect you to either the 2G or the 5.
Fergie!
Willie, you complete me.
Saints be praised!
Willie is hallucinating Sarah Ferguson there, the Duchess of York, and a famous author, philanthropist, and British royal. Take your last shot, Clippy. Let's end this.
Next. I wouldn't reel I came back from the store. Says, where's Diane? He said, oh, no, I can't there, bro.
All right. That one. Promised I'd explain that one. Didn't I? Fuck. Yeah, I can't do that. I'm not going to do that.
You're free to go.
Well, Willie, you can take it from here. Adios, dude.
You'll be back. You haven't seen the last of Willie.
Hey, people who didn't click away. If you don't want to have just seen the last of this show, please spread the word about this video that was so very, very hard and time-consuming to make. I enjoyed doing it, and I'd love to keep the series going forward no matter what shape it takes on. You can, of course, find all previous and future episodes of The Simpsons Taught Me Everything here on the Cracked YouTube channel or by seeking out the Cracked podcast feed wherever you get podcasts. My own personal podcast imprint is called Small Beans. Thank you for your time and kind attention. Say goodnight, Clippy.
Good night.
That worked so well.